What is one of the greatest points of contention in the church world today? I would have to say that probably women in ministry, women pastoring churches, women in leadership is probably up there in the top 5. And typically you have a verse found in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, that is used as the example, more or less, of why certain denominations do not allow women to do these types of things in their churches. And the verse simply says, "Let a woman learn in silence with all submission. I do not permit a woman to teach or to have authority over a man, but to be in silence." That's one of 2 verses that are typically used. But we have to understand what was going on in the context of the culture and the history and the backdrop of what was going on when the Apostle Paul penned these words to young Timothy as he was pastoring the church in Ephesus. And what was going on was that there was a temple there. And this temple was dedicated to the goddess Artemis. And this temple was so magnificent and so extraordinary that it was considered one of the 7 wonders in the ancient world. And there were female priestesses that ran this cult. And many of the young women that were coming into salvation and coming into Christianity were in this cult, and they had been saved out of this cult. And so the Apostle Paul was speaking to a specific situation at a specific church. He was not using this statement as a blanket prohibition against women in ministry. What he was saying is that these women that have just come out of the cult of Artemis, that have just come out of idolatry and paganism, that they need to be taught sound doctrine of the Christian faith. They need time to learn. They need time to learn about this new faith that they have just accepted and walked into, and they do not need to be put into positions of leadership and authority in the Christian church. They need to assimilate sound doctrine. They need to understand what it is that the Christian faith is all about. And that verse is at the top of the list that's typically used. And there's also another verse that is used, and this verse is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 34 and 35. I'm going to be covering this very crucial and pertinent subject matter this morning in my message. You don't want to miss it. I invite you to tune in at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope to see you then. So you take care. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.